It's addicting.
It's an obsession, and now we're recording. And
It
it
is an
is,
obsession, dude.
and that's what you and I share, I think. And I think that's why one thing that, I mean, there's many things why you and I get along so well, but we're both obsessive people. Where to the point where I'm not focusing on carving as much as I should be. And I've
Right?
noticed that like my carving study has gone like down because I'm so obsessed with like
That's
gardening
okay.
and
That's totally okay, dude. You know, Bruce Lee, man. You ever read Bruce Lee's book?
no.
He says he says that knowledge is what's left after you've forgotten what you've learned. And it's a cool fucking saying because what it means in the end, it's if you look at Bruce Lee, he was probably one of the most obsessive fucking people on the planet. Probably made us look like fucking lost souls, but in the end, he had he had this concept that you got completely obsessed with something, you dove into it, you swam in it, you fucking eat, sleep, and drink it, and then you forget about it. And when you forget about it, it becomes that nugget in your brain that you understand. That's when it becomes knowledge. It's not during the process of learning. There's two different concepts,
Yeah.
so that's what's so cool about what you're talking about, because when you take carving, for instance, for as long as you have, you know and I can tell you this from my own personal experience, multiple times where I've stopped carving. Matter of
Mhm.
fact, we talked about that very briefly on your in my first interview when you
Yeah.
said something about the fact that I had stopped carving for an amount of time. That was decided for that reason, because I knew I would get better if I stopped. I
Hmm.
had to stop for a certain amount of time because I believe in that concept. You got
Huh.
to. It's like, I don't know how to say it. It's like shutting your computer off and letting it reboot. It's just, it compiles everything, it processes everything. It's the same thing you do every night when you go to sleep. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to do it in life, right?
That's crazy. Hmm.
Well, talking about competition and fucking obsession leading into our next interview with Mr. Bob King.
Yeah. That's
What do
gonna be
you
fun.
think? I mean, we've had some fucking amazing people on here like Robbie and
Yeah, and
Billers,
Ryan
and you and me,
Villiers.
of course. Nobody's as amazing as we are.
I
But on the
agree.
other hand, how do we prepare for Bob King? That's the real question. I mean, looking at what I know and what you know about him, when did you first meet him? I mean, what
Uh,
what's what sticks out as far as your first memory?
I mean, for me, the first memory of Bob King was pretty much Googling chainsaw carving. When Saw Dogs came out and we had finished shooting Saw Dogs, and you had went back to yeah, we did episode 10 and we finished the show, and you and I were done, and I was texting you quite often, and then I was kind of becoming obsessed with carving, and that's when my obsession really kicked in. And you mentored me, and Steve Blanchard was mentoring me at the time. And um and then I started to Google chainsaw carving. And as soon as I Googled chainsaw carving, Bob King was the first carvings I
Yep.
would see. And, it'd be
Was
you, it'd be you and Bob. And it's, it's, he was one of the first ones. And then for my first time ever meeting Bob, it was in Boston, in Amsterdam, or
Boston,
Boston.
Massachusetts? Oh,
Boston.
Boston. Boston.
Bassannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannannann whim, I got invited because Simon O'Rourke hooked me up, who is also going to be on After Bob. That will be fun. So if anyone doesn't
That'll
know,
be a step.
yeah, Simon O'Rourke. I stayed with Simon O'Rourke for 2 weeks with his amazing wife and him. And he got me lined up in Boston, which is where I met Bob for the first time. And man, he did this fucking deer kicking with an owl on top, and he won.
Right,
I
right,
think he
right.
won
I
first
remember.
place.
I
Yeah,
remember that one.
it was an
Yeah.
insane piece because I couldn't figure out how he pulled that out. And
That's what's so fucking awesome about Bob is that he's like one of those meeting Bob is like one of those stops on the road. It's like anything else. It's like going to go see the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to go fucking, you know what I mean? I want to see the Pentagon while I'm in DC, and then when I'm going to fucking swing over to Washington, and where the fuck is Bob? I got to check this dude out. You know what I mean? He's at that fucking legendary level. And that's what I love about that dude, man.
oh, I swear to God, I was so excited to meet Bob. That was one of the biggest things for me when I went to that competition was meeting Bob. And I mean, he's a legend. He is one of the
Legend, man.
legend. I'm so excited. I mean, what's he to you? You've known him for many years. How have you how have you got to know Bob?
I got to know Bob working with the Coquel Indian tribe down here in Oregon because he and I are from the same area. And of course, he started the Reedsport show, which is like 20 minutes from my house. So I was working with the tribe, and apparently their longhouse that was built, he had cut the saddles for the logs. So his name was on the fucking wall, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, who the fuck is Bob King? And of course, the guy at the time, he's like, oh, it's a chainsaw carver dude, blah, blah, blah. So I started, and the first thing I saw was him on an Echo video for Echo, and he was carving Jesus and the Statue of Liberty. And it was just what I remember of it, you know, was seeing him like truck this log across the thing, and the announcer was like, Bob King, King Bob. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, King Bob, this is the man right here, dude.
Right?
It was awesome. And so anyway, I met him at that show the first time. You know, we did a handshake. It was pretty quick, and we'll talk about that later. But
cool.
Fucking spectacular person, and has become just an incredible friend. And what an amazing guy.
Yeah, man. Guy. I mean, I'm really pumped to get to talk to him because there's so many questions that I have. I mean, like how he maintained being one of the top carvers for so many years and never skipped a beat, and also like progressing what was chainsaw carving, and then also like pushing it into new levels. Yeah. Pushing human form, and also becoming one of the first sponsored chainsaw carvers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
and Bob, a lot of people don't know Bob. There was a couple of them, but we're talking about Bob. But Bob defined an era of chainsaw art, you know. Mm-hmm. And what that is, maybe we should talk about at the interview. But if we talk about it here, that era was the scene. It was multiple pieces that interacted. And I can tell you from a person that doesn't carve that way and can compete with Bob, if the judges are in my favor, we have two completely different styles. But his style is of a scene. So he tells a story, and I can tell you I don't. You know, I do more of the singular piece, very much an ice carving profile concept.
Yeah.
But that was at the time when I started competing, seeing Bob and Mark and Jason Emmons and Higgins and Bill Meyer and Schultz and guys like that. That was what they did. They did these scenes. There would be a horse and a fence and a chicken and a girl and an apple. And I'm saying that specifically because that was Bob's piece that he did one of my first years at Reedsport. It was called The Apple. You know what I mean? And it was so there would be 5 or 6 elements, you know?
Yeah.
And that was a style that they defined. And that was what Bob really excelled at. You know, he really defined that style. And back to what you said, it's really interesting how he will change with the times. He stays on top, and he does not get stuck in anything. Yeah. So Bob, next week, let's see what happens, man. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, a great friend of mine, but talking to him in front of the world, I really hope he doesn't put me on the spot. I can tell you that because we know each other a little bit too well. Do you? What do you feel is going to happen here?
Well, you know what? I hope Bob comes and he's open and honest and willing to share some of his trade secrets, and you know, just be ready to hang with the boys, have a couple drinks, and and get ready for the Cook and Foltz show. So
I hope we're ready to hang with him. That's the real thing right there, dude.
that's true, man. He's the man, and I'm excited to have him on. Okay, guys, so thank you for watching this video. Cook and Foltz are going to be back next week with Bob King.
Great talking to you, man. I don't know if I'm excited or nervous, but we get to talk to Bob. And any of you watching right now, throw some questions in the comments. If you got something you want to know, let us know. We'll ask Bob if it's appropriate, or if we're not going to ask it anyway. We'd like to hear some questions. See what you guys want to know, man. Let us know. We'll see if we can get it from him.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching this video. My name's Ryan Cook. This is my man, Chris Foltz. You can check us out on all our social medias. Cook and Foltz will be back with Bob King next week. Peace out. Boom.